Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un is the second child of Kim Jong-il, North Korea's second dictator. His grandfather, Kim Il-sung, was the country's founder, first dictator, and leader of the army, going back to the Korean War outbreak until he passed away in 1994. There is still an ongoing debate as to whether Kim was born in 1982 or if his birth date was modified for symbolic reasons. That year his grandfather turned 70 years old, and his father turned 40. Kim Jong-un reportedly appears in this Swiss public school class photo taken in the late 90s. It's rumored that he attended Liebefeld Steinhölzli State School in Köniz near Bern, where his brothers also studied. He supposedly enrolled under the name Pak-un or Un-pak as a diplomat's son, and had a bodyguard posing as a student. The school later confirmed that they enrolled a North Korean student from 1993 to 1998. Classmates described Kim as a shy but good student who got along with others and was obsessed with the NBA. As a teenager, he allegedly wondered out loud, quote, "We are here playing basketball, riding horses, riding jet skis, having fun. But what are the lives of the average people?" Kim left school abruptly in 2000 with mediocre grades, but is remembered for playing basketball passionately, being awkward around girls, and for his open admiration for Michael Jordan and Jackie Chan. Kim later got a degree in physics at Kim Il-sung University, and then a second one as an army officer. Before assuming the rule of North Korea, he traveled across the world under the name of Joseph Puag, using forged passports allegedly issued in Brazil in 1996. Kim Jong-un became favored to succeed his father after his older brother was caught trying to sneak into Tokyo Disneyland. In 2011, Kim became the supreme leader of North Korea. The dictator is credited with countless purges of high-ranking military officials and politicians, and has been accused of multiple human rights violations. During his cult-like tenure, Kim has pushed for nuclear armament and militarization, which has caused tensions among Japan, South Korea, and the United States. Osama Bin Laden. Osama Bin Laden was the founder of the pan-Islamic organization al-Qaeda, designated as a terrorist group by the United Nations and NATO. The mastermind of the September 11th attacks is pictured here in a 1971 family photo on a vacation to Sweden. At the time, he was attending an English course in Oxford, England. The family made nearly $5 billion in the construction business, and Osama inherited over $25 million by the time he entered college. His father, a devout Sunni Muslim, taught him the ways of Islam since he was young. Osama was described as a hard-working student with interest in poetry, horses, and the English soccer club Arsenal. He also immersed himself in the understanding of his religion, his culture, and his country. But he left college during his third year to fight against the Soviets and finance the Mujahideen resistance that invaded Afghanistan in 1979. His extreme religious beliefs led him to despise anything foreign to Islam. He created al-Qaeda, a militant organization with remnants of the Mujahideen, and sought to impose the Sharia law to unify the Muslim world. Bin Laden eventually grew irritated with the U.S. foreign policy and their constant involvement in Middle East affairs, declaring a war against the United States. Bashar al-Assad. Bashar al-Assad has been president of Syria as far back as July 2000. He succeeded his father, Hafez al-Assad, who held office for 29 years. During the last 10 years, al-Assad has been accused of fraudulent elections and numerous human rights violations. Pictured here in his teens and early 20s, Bashar al-Assad reportedly had no interest in politics or military affairs. He left those duties to his elder brother, Bashar, who was destined to follow in his father's footsteps. Bashar was described as shy and was often bullied by his brother before leaving for college to study medicine. He eventually traveled to London to specialize in ophthalmology, enrolling at Western Eye Hospital. The Western lifestyle captivated him, and he worked as an eye doctor for some time. But his newfound life was abruptly interrupted when his brother Bashar died in a car crash. Bashar had to return to Syria and inherit his role as the next president. Bashar was recalled to the Syrian military to grow in character. After ascending to the presidency at the age of 34, his Western reforms planted the seed of the fierce civil war that was soon to come. The United States and several European countries have asked for Bashar's resignation and imposed several economic sanctions on Syria. But Bashar has received the support of Russia to consolidate a strong military and regain control of the region during the ongoing Syrian civil war. Muammar Gaddafi. Born in 1942, Muammar Gaddafi came from a poor Bedouin family that lived in the desert. He witnessed firsthand the Middle Eastern political turmoil after World War II. Although his father did not have much money, Gaddafi was sent to a local school. He was educated in the ways of Islam and spent the weekdays sleeping in a mosque. One of Gaddafi's earliest heroes was Egyptian President Gamal Abdel Nasser, whose book Philosophy of the Revolution would greatly influence him. While studying history at the University of Libya in Benghazi, Gaddafi dropped out to join the military. At the time, the Royal Military Academy was a good option for upward social mobility, which would ultimately help Gaddafi. But he refused to learn English and despised his British superiors. However, he showed promise and was sent to England to continue his studies. In this 1966 photo, Lieutenant Muammar Gaddafi is pictured walking through Piccadilly, London, while on military training. Gaddafi would later claim that he had no desire to explore the busy Western culture and felt alienated in Britain. Although some officers praised him for his reading aptitude and enthusiasm, Gaddafi would later say that he was insulted and discriminated against by others. These actions led to his increased nationalism, which he showed off by walking across London wearing traditional Libyan robes during the weekends. Upon becoming dictator over Libya in a coup, he supposedly embraced his Arab heritage and implemented Sharia law, following the footsteps of other Arab nationalists to unify the Muslim world. But behind the scenes, Gaddafi flouted his strict rule and lived lavishly, keeping a personal Amazonian guard and other extravagancies deemed inappropriate for a Muslim. Trying to make sense of his motivations, British intelligence concluded that he was simply, quote, bordering on insane, corrupted by the power and wealth he had accumulated throughout the years. Gaddafi would later survive an assassination attempt when President Ronald Reagan ordered an airstrike targeting one of his many residencies in Libya. But in 2011, he couldn't escape from the rebel militia from Misrata. Hidden in a villa with those closest to him, he was taken prisoner and met his end. Adolf Hitler. Pictured in this innocent-looking portrait taken sometime in 1889 or 1890 is a baby Adolf Hitler. By 1899, the future dictator was a choir boy and reportedly considered becoming a Catholic priest. It's believed that losing his brother to measles in 1900 irreparably changed him from a confident to a sullen boy. Following the death of his overbearing father in 1903, Hitler had a chance to pursue his passion for art and painting. Still, after failing to get into a Viennese art school twice, he immersed himself in other hobbies. His mother died of breast cancer in 1907 at age 47. At the time, he was applying for a vacancy in an architecture school, but was rejected because he did not finish secondary school. Hitler did not have any money and became homeless. Young Adolf lived on the streets and made a living by painting watercolors of Vienna's sights. It was during this period that Hitler became interested in anti-Semitic rhetoric. He was influenced by Germanic nationalist authors who disliked the influence of Jewish people in German culture, seeing them as a threat. Even though he was born a Catholic, Hitler eventually immersed himself in aspects of Protestantism. When World War I erupted in 1914, he enlisted in the Bavarian army even despite being Austrian. He was 25 years old when he served in the Western Front as a dispatch runner. Hitler witnessed firsthand the carnage of the battles of Ypres, Arras, Passchendaele, and Somme, where he was wounded and received the Iron Cross Second Class for his bravery. In 1918, Hitler was also awarded the Iron Cross First Class for meritorious actions. While recovering from a bout of blindness due to a mustard gas attack, Hitler was notified of Germany's defeat. Upon hearing the news, he went temporarily blind again. Like many Teutonic nationalists, Hitler blamed the Jews and Marxists for not aiding in the war effort. He then infiltrated and joined the German Workers' Party, where he quickly rose through the ranks. The soldier showed vast knowledge and impressive oratory skills. While in jail after a failed coup to overthrow the Bavarian government in 1923, Hitler wrote part of his autobiography and manifesto, Mein Kampf. His anti-communist and anti-Semitic stances made an echo in a resentful post-war population, paving the way for the eventual success of the National Socialist Party. As an admirer of culture, art, literature, and architecture, many of Hitler's ideologies became the founding columns of the Third Reich. But so did the hatred.